Hello friends, my name is Dr. Chalks. Today, we'll be talking about water and objects that float or sink in water. Before we talk about these things, let us understand the word float and sink. Just like me, you may have noticed that not all objects act the same way when they are thrown into water. Some go down to the bottom of the water, while some stay up. We say that those that go down sink, while those that stay up float in water. Have you ever paused to ask why this happens? Let's get to know why. In this lesson, we'll learn about floating and sinking in water. So, what causes some things to float and some other things to sink in water? Objects can float or sink in water because of what we call density. Let's get to know more about density. Everything around us is made up of very tiny particles we cannot see with our naked eyes. These particles are called atoms and molecules. Using your imagination, let's pretend that the atoms and molecules are marbles. If we have a bunch of marbles, all closely packed next to each other, that there is no space between them, that's how particles will look inside an object that's very dense, such as the stone. Objects with a large number of molecules closely packed together are heavier than objects with a small number of molecules well spaced apart. Objects like metal spoon, coin, a piece of iron, and so on will sink to the bottom of water because their molecules are closely packed. Such objects are called sinking objects. But if the marbles are spaced really far apart, that there is plenty space between them, that's likely how the particles are like in an object that's less dense, such as the plastic spoon. Other objects like the balloon, dry wood, all plastics and football will remain on the surface of water when thrown or placed in water. So, such objects are called floating objects. So, how dense an object is depends on how much space is between those particles inside it and not on their shape or size. For example, a metal spoon and plastic spoon have the same shape, but one is more dense than the other due to how particles are packed inside it. We have learned that any object that floats in water has a lower density than water, therefore is not heavy enough to sink in water, while any object that sinks in water has higher density than water, therefore is higher than water. So, you're going to carry out a little experiment at home. You will need a bowl of water. Do this activity in the presence of an adult so as to know which household items are okay to put in water or not. Look around you and pick 6 objects made of different materials such as plastic, metal, wood, rubber, glass, and so on. Throw them inside the water and observe those that sank to the bottom of the bowl and those that floated on top. Record your observations in a table like the one below. Tick in the appropriate column: objects, float, sink. Now, let's take a few test questions based on all we have learned so far. Question 1. Which of the following is an object that floats in water? Option A, stone. Option B, iron spoon. Option C, plastic spoon. The correct answer is option C, plastic spoon. Question 2. Which of the following is not an object that sink in water? Option A, a piece of iron. Option B, feather. Option C, stone. The correct answer is option B, feather. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye bye.